Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for another Chamber Check-in episode. Today, we get to feature owner and founder of a really cool company. It's a mini golf course for grown-ups. And I've got owner and founder with us today, Chris Wilson. I'm going to bring him on stage right now. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You know, I've known you for probably a couple of years now. We've been in some networking groups together. You've been a chamber member for a couple of years now, and um, now it's an opportunity to help showcase your business. So we've done these chamber check-ins for, gosh, we're heading into finishing up our fifth year of these, and we featured over 500 chamber member businesses, large and small, everything in between, nonprofit. And this is a unique. I've never featured a mini putt organization or a mini golf course. So I always like to feature the business, but then the people are the most important. So let's talk about you, Chris. Tell us a little bit about your background and history of work that led you to becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah, all right. Well, first of all, I have really appreciated being a chamber member. It's a great community and a lot of good business people that I meet along the way and help support my journey. This is my first time owning a business. A little bit about my background. I grew up near a nature preserve, and I was the kid who spent all my time down there, um, rambling the trails, looking at deer and wildlife, and I just really fell in love with the environment and nature and protecting the environment. So I studied environmental studies in college. Um, After college, I did some fun seasonal work years. I was a mountain bike tour guide down in Moab, Utah. I was a sea kayak tour guide up on Yellowstone Lake in Yellowstone for a couple summers, having fun, outdoor recreation, having a good time. And then I got a little bit more serious about my career, and I started working on science research projects. I worked for the U.S. Geological Survey out of Moab, Utah. We studied soil sciences, the health of the soils of the desert Southwest, essentially, and how they affect the greater ecosystem. And it was really cool. I learned a lot about the environment, more about the soil specifically, but also just instrumentation. We would set up studies that were remote and they were automated, and so I learned how to wire sensors and program automated studies essentially, which was actually really beneficial later on when I ended up in Idaho. I did some further science research in Corvallis, Oregon, and then relocated to Boise in 2008. My girlfriend at the time got into graduate school at BSU, so we ended up here, and I've stayed ever since because it's a great place to live. Um, Along the way, I did some more environmental work. I was briefly managing the Brownfields Revolving Loan Fund for the state of Idaho. It's essentially a loan fund that is given to businesses and individuals to help remediate environmentally compromised sites. Like think about an old petroleum storage facility that had a leak, et cetera. And that money is made available to help finance those cleanup projects so that the parcels can then be redeveloped, something productive again. Um, I took a leap of faith after that, and I went back down to Moab, Utah for 6-month fellowship with a program called Community Rebuilds. And so this is kind of where my love of repurposed and sustainable building really took off. That program builds straw bale housing for low income families. They specifically replace mobile homes, so old, leaky, energy inefficient mobile homes are replaced with a sustainably built, really highly efficient single family home, and it's a really cool program. And that kind of led me down the sustainable building track. I got a job with the U.S. Green Building Council in Boise after that, and worked for them for 4 or 5 years. Um, After that, I worked for Idaho Housing and Finance. It's a great organization, it's the state housing authority, and I helped manage their affordable housing projects, the existing ones, the ones that people were living in and leasing. Um, and somewhere in there, I think about 2016, I went through the Boise State Venture College program, which is a 1-semester course specifically designed to help you to vet business models and evaluate their viability. And I really liked that course, and I had several ideas come to mind since then that I didn't pull the trigger on, and lo and behold, I saw them go to market with other entrepreneurs that went for it. And I thought, okay, maybe I did learn some stuff in this class, and maybe I can give it a go. And when my nephew visited Idaho 4 or 5 years ago, we went out to Wahoo's, and on the way home, someone commented, well, how come this is the only mini golf in town? And hey, so I did a little market research. Communities this size generally do have more than one mini golf facility. And then I just started ideating with friends, and we came across this idea of, well, why not 21 plus mini golf? And there were courses popping up along the West Coast. So that business idea was getting some traction. And then, of course, with my environmental studies and sustainable building background, I thought, well, how can I do this a little different and focus on sustainability? And that's how I came up with the concept of repurposed and recycled whole material, which is basically how Boise Brew Putt came to be.
Wow, Chris, just in that 5 minutes,
Are you
I
with me,
learned
Paul?
more about you than I've known in the last year and a half. I knew you were in Moab a lot, and you always take pictures of you in Arizona. But I really love the fact that you have taken your history and experience and put it to work. So when you come back on, we'll bring you back on here. We just lost you there for a second. But while he's out, let me just kind of share a little bit more about where it's located. So the Boise Brew Putt is located on the corner of, um, we got you back there, Chris. So I was just telling, while we lost you there for a second, I was just telling the listeners where you're located on State Street, and it's not 36th Street, it's
Hollister.
Collister and 36th Street, there, right on the corner. Okay, so now that you've shared a little bit about your background and kind of where the energy and the fuel came from to start this business, tell us a little bit more about it. You talked about the reclaimed materials, and I think that's something very unique. So tell us about the course itself and how you've incorporated kind of some Boise landmarks and how you have repurposed materials.
Yeah. Well, the first, the general construction technique that I settled on is the putting surfaces it's artificial turf on top of used industrial conveyor belting. So this is 1/2 inch thick rubber material that's very heavy duty and very heavy. But it's not permanently, it's not a permanent installation. It's not concreted into the ground. And so not only does it have that repurposed, reused, sustainable focus, but also it provides a little bit of a modular design, so the holes can be moved or mixed up or changed easier than a traditional mini golf course, which is oftentimes concreted right into the ground and much harder to change out. So I like that design, and it's worked out really well. And the holes themselves are they're all Boise or Idaho themed. So, I wanted to keep it local and give a nod to Boise, which is just a great place to call home. I have a hole representing the Greenbelt and the Boise River Whitewater Park. I have a hole that represents the old penitentiary. I have a hole that represents a ski mountain. I have a hole that represents the foothills and our trail system. So essentially things that Idahoans are near and dear to us here in Boise. That's the theme of the course, and it's really fun.
So you serve alcohol. You've got beer and wine license, right?
Correct.
And you're on the corner of State Street and Collister. What does your guest experience when they come to visit Boise Brew Putt? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, usually I run into me behind the bar, and people pop in, they show me their ID, they order a drink, they pay for their rounds of golf, which, by the way, players get to play 2 rounds on the same day for their greens fees, which is $10 per player. And then they go out and have a good time. I've got shade structures and misters for the summer. We're located right next to a canal, so you can view the ducks going by, and it cools the air down. We've got some shade trees in our beer garden. It's a really pleasant experience. The course is challenging. Some of the holes are challenging. Some of them are easier. A little bit of mix of both, so it keeps you on your toes, keeps you entertained. Some players will come back on the turn and have a seat in our beer garden, order a second drink, relax before their second round. There's no rush. You haven't paid for an allotted amount of time. You just paid to have some fun.
I love it. What are your hours of operation, Chris?
Right now, so I fluctuate seasonally. I'm kind of daylight driven. Currently, I am 3 to 9:30 on Wednesday and Thursday. 4 to 9:30 on Wednesday and Thursday, 3 to 9:30 on Friday, and 2 to 9:30 on Saturday and Sunday. And okay. It's last call. So my goal is that people have time to at least get one round in comfortably before the sun is completely set.
I love it. Parking. You got a place to park?
Yeah, we have I believe 17 spaces, asphalt parking lot right adjacent to the entrance of the course. Sometimes when we get busy, people do end up parking across the street or somewhere nearby and walking in, but we do have on-site parking.
And I know you have access, quick access to the greenbelt too. So if you're riding your bike along the greenbelt, you can just pop across State Street. There's a nice light there. You can get across the street. It's well done on that area. I noticed that the other day.
Yeah, that you brought that up. People do biking here all the time, and I fully support and endorse that. Right across the street at State and Collister is a little known fact. It's called the Wiley Street Connector. And there is a little path that cuts back through the neighborhood there to the Greenbelt. It's a few blocks to the Greenbelt. I highly encourage people to look that up, Wiley Street Connector, because if you don't know about it, you end up down on Willow Lane, which is a little bit further crossing from here.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's super accessible and easy. Hey, do you offer an opportunity for birthday parties or maybe corporate gatherings? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I host all sorts of groups, birthday parties included. I actually have an ongoing promotion for birthday parties, which is birthday groups that come out with a group of 8 or more. The birthday person gets to putt for free if they're within a week of their birthday. So that's just a little spiff for the birthday person. I have bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, and a lot of corporate team building events or just company outings, and that's really fun. The groups have a great time. They get to interact and unwind in a setting that's just fun. You don't have to be good at golf to do it, and it's low cost for the employer. I can handle groups of up to 30 during public hours if you just want to come out. I do appreciate a reservation heads up if you're bringing a big group, but so you can come out during public hours and play, or the course is available for private parties as well. Monday through Thursday, I'll book private parties at any time of day. Friday through Sunday, the private parties are only available till 3 p.m. I try to not interfere with the busier public hours, so the public has a chance at it.
Okay, so just give you a call. I'm going to put your website on the screen. So BoiseBrewPutt.com. You can give Chris a call, 208-789-0807. And while that's scrolling, what does that private party area look like? Are you at the course right now, Chris?
I'm behind the bar right now. So let's see if I can get a little. So
look over your shoulder there.
Looking over my shoulder, that's our beer garden area. I have not yet put my shade structure up there because we have a lot of shade trees in there and we haven't quite hit the scorching heat, but I have a shade structure and misters, and I have seating that accommodates approximately 40 people, as is. It's a larger area than I have seating. I can actually bring in additional seating for even larger groups.
Okay. And then will you give us a little teaser of the course, maybe over your other shoulder, kind of show us a little bit?
So I'm going to have to back up just a hair, but so the course is over my other shoulder, and like I said, it's a 9-hole course, all the Boise and Idaho themes. I'm not going to go out and give a detailed tour because I think we'll make the audience seasick. Plus, it's the audience's prompts to come out and check it out and see what I got.
I love it. I tell you what, being outside right now, I'm inside and you're outside. It looks a lot better to be outside right now.
Sometimes that's part of the job I'm most thankful for. When I just look up at the sky and see a cool cloud or a sunset, I'm really happy about that.
Well, and also behind you on the wall, I see your chamber member certificate. Thanks for being a loyal chamber member, Chris.
Yes, it's really been well worth the membership dues. It's a great community and great investment, and the chamber businesses really do support one another, and I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Hey, misters are on. You mentioned it. Shade sales are on their way to being up, and summer just kicked off. I think the solstice was this last week. I would encourage anybody looking to have a good time and like you said, unwind from a great week, or just even during the weekdays, give Chris and Boise Brew Putt a shot. Chris, thank you so much for your investment in the community. Congratulations on your business. And I look forward to our next conversation, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paul.